everyone, Cole with discountjuicers.com. Today we have another exciting episode for you. In this episode, what I'll be comparing two Kuvings juicers. These are their high-end models at this time. So if you guys are looking to buy the high-end Kuvings, then this is the video you guys will want to watch to determine the best Kuvings for you. That being said, Kuvings does make many other models, and some of them perform actually similar to the higher-end models. Check out the video on the C7000 Kuvings. Basically, it's going to get the same performance based on my testing as these two machines, and you're going to pay actually a little bit less money for it. So anyways, on with this video, and the two Kuvings machines we'll be comparing today are the Kuvings Whole Slow Juicer Chef model CS600. This is their commercial model, designed and built and used in many juice bars around the world. With an induction brushless motor that could run for 24 hours straight without stopping, which is totally insane and incredible. I will say for most of you guys that are home users, you don't need to, guys, get the commercial machine. Let's be honest here. As you'll learn in this episode, some of the parts are actually similar to the home model, and the yield, as you will probably also learn near the end of this video while I'll be juicing some celery in both machines, is pretty much the same. So unless you need like the super strong motor or want some of the unique features like getting the extra top set, which is kind of cool, I would definitely say if you guys are a home user, then you want to go for the home machine because you also will give up warranty length. That being said, if you are a commercial establishment, have a juice bar, number one, you need to make sure that you do not need to get an NSF certified machine. I know many places in California may require this. That means the Kuvings commercial is out because they have not gone through the certification process to get it NSF certified. That being said, I've also sold this very juicer to many juice bars and juice stands and commercial establishments around the country that are using it successfully without any health departments giving them hassle, alright? So that's the first thing. So yeah, this is their commercial machine and their home machine. So the home machine just got released literally a few weeks ago is the Kuvings EVO820. This is the Kuvings Whole Slow Juicer Premium or Evolution Model 820. And I would definitely say it is definitely an evolution from the previous versions of the home machines. I mean, this is literally their flagship home model that's premium, built with like premium quality parts. It seems to be a little more stout and sturdy. And actually, I personally like the design more. Although I will say, honestly, I don't like the price. This is priced at $150 more than their, elite model, which, basically you're going to get the same yields. Although this has been improved to make your user, your using experience a lot easier. So these are the two machines we'll be comparing today. What I hope to do for you guys in this episode is actually explain some of the differences between the different machines, some of the different, comparisons of the specifications. Also, we're going to go over all the different parts that you guys see laid out here, compared one to the other. I'm also going to go ahead and get out my micrometer to measure large and small things to see if they're actually using some of the same parts in these machines. And then finally at the end of this video, I'll be juicing some celery, exact same amounts in both machines, so you guys can see if there's a difference in yield and also the time it takes to juice the same amount of celery. And then finally, I'll be sharing with you guys my opinions on both these machines. And so if you want to jump to any of these sections, check in the description below or the first comment or the second comment. I generally put time links so you can jump to sections of the video that most interest you. Anyways, let's get on with the show today. I guess the first thing I want to say is that I have been to the Kuvings factory, and I was quite impressed when I went there. They have a nice R&D department, and actually, unlike many other juicer companies, they actually make the motors in-house. They're winding copper and all these things, which is kind of cool because most companies actually outsource and just buy motors and then stick them in the juicer. Kuvings basically probably makes their whole machine like right there in South Korea. And another thing I want to warn you guys about before I go on is that you may see other wide feed chute juicers with a similar drop down design, trapdoor design. And Kuvings has and owns the patent on the wide feed chute. They're the only company that literally can make it legally. So many of the machines, or most all the machines, aside from a few that have been licensed by Kuvings, are basically knockoffs, and they're inexpensively made machines in China. and based on my testing, those machines do not perform well, nor do they hold up well, and basically the old adage holds true. You guys get what you pay for. If you're buying like a $150 knockoff Chinese juicer, it's not going to compare to a $500, $400 or $500 Kuvings juicer that they own the patent, and they've designed things in certain ways. I saw their R&D department where they're testing different designs and going back and forth, modifying things, changing a little bit, going back and then testing to see if they get good yield out of it. And then if it doesn't work, then they'll change it and they'll use the best one. Meanwhile, the people in China probably just see this, oh, we'll just make something like it, throw it together, and they'll call it a day, and like we could make some money by selling it, right? And then they're importing cheap junk that we're getting ripped off on, like literally more ways than one. So get something, buy something right. I mean, the thing I like about the Kuvings, especially the home model, has a full 10-year warranty. So should you have any issues with the Kuvings juicer, the home model, that you buy within the next 10 years, due to no fault of your own, so don't be sticking knives or forks or anything down there. If you're just juicing fruits and vegetables and something happens, right, Kuvings will repair or replace it under warranty for you guys at no cost. So this machine has a full 10-year warranty for home use. Basically, the warranty is void if you're using it for commercial uses. Meanwhile, over on the CS600, this has a full 1-year warranty on the entire machine for home or commercial use. Now, I wish that they had a longer home use warranty, but I understand that, Kuvings knows in a commercial environment, it's going to use a lot, and they're only going to offer a 1-year warranty. So, I mean, to me, that's a big downside to buying the commercial unit, although I love the commercial unit because the motor is the strongest on any machine. And just because they have a strong motor doesn't mean, A, it's going to get more yield, because as you'll see, it probably is going to get a similar yield. And number two, just because it's a more stronger motor doesn't mean it's not going to jam or clog up. This juicer still can jam or clog up if you're not using it properly, as can any vertical slow juicer. So make sure you check a link down below in the description called Juice Like a Pro and any vertical slow juicer. I don't care what vertical slow juicer you guys get. You guys got to follow my tips so you guys get have the best experience juicing in any vertical slow juicer. Now, the other thing I want to say, and Kuvings may not like this, but this is my honest truth. Although they have a nice 3.2 inch and 3.5 inch feed chute, which is the largest feed chutes in the juicing industry, and that allows you to not pre-cut certain produce items such as apples and tomatoes and pears and things like that. Carrots you can just drop in whole. Leafy greens and celery, if you guys want to juice good quantities of leafy greens and celery, those should be pre-cut despite having a large hole. Just because you have a large hole doesn't mean you can shove anything into it, right? So these things should be pre-cut because the strings in the leafy greens, kale, collard greens, spinach, dandelion greens, or in the celery can jam up any vertical slow juicer. I don't care if it has a 3-inch wide feed chute or not. Every vertical juicer, for the most part, the pulp needs to go down and then make a right angle turn, and during that right angle turn, that's when the strings of the different vegetables, if they're not pre-cut, can clog, will cause jamming, and then you basically will not be able to get your juicer apart. Although Kuvings with the new EVO model has solved that issue with a cool part or tool that they provide you guys with. So with that over, let's go ahead and get into the main comparison, and we're going to go over all the parts that comes with each machine. So this is the Kuvings CS600, once again the commercial model. This has a really heavy duty motor. Matter of fact, this motor could run for 24 hours straight, without stopping. It's industrial, brushless, so cool. Let me turn it on for you guys so you guys can hear what it sounds like. It sounds a bit different than the home model. I mean, to me it has like that whine. I mean, it just sounds really nice and beefy, and it's actually quite powerful. And this is what the home model sounds like. A little bit different. And so this model could run 24 hours straight. That being said, with the CS600, you guys get 2 top sets. So this is almost, but not quite, getting 2 juices in one. You get a setup like this, like you guys see, but then you get this extra whole top set here. And the reason for that is because in a commercial establishment like a juice bar, say you're doing 2 different recipes. You want to have this top set for making, orange, cucumber, carrot juice, and this one is for making, beets and purple carrots and apples or something like that. So you don't have to mix or commingle the different recipes and get contamination if that's important to you. That being said, they provide 2 housings, because basically Kuving says that you should only use one housing for 20 minutes before you should switch it out and then switch to the other one, so that you do not develop any clogs or jams or have any issues with this one. Alright? Or, besides the 20-minute rule, they also have a 2-quart rule. So you can make 2 quarts of juice with one top set before you should switch it out to the next top set, you know, so that you don't have any issues with it clogging or jamming. That being said, if you follow my directions in the video, Juice Like a Pro and any vertical slow juicer, you know, I've used the top set on a juicer for like over an hour without it clogging or jamming, but you have to pay more attention. So especially if you're in a commercial environment, you know, training your employees to use a machine properly is the most important, and if they're not going to do that, then you should probably definitely change out each top set after 20 minutes. Now, the advantage to having 2 top sets for the home user is cool. Like, say you're the mom or you're the dad, and you're juicing for you, and you like to juice, you know, maybe a sweet fruit juice, and your significant other doesn't like it. They just want all greens. So then you can switch out the top set after you're done juicing yours without having to stop and clean it, juice theirs, and you'd be done. And then at the end, you just have 2 top sets to clean. So that's really cool. But yeah, so that's nice that it comes with. Now, I do want to mention the price difference. I don't like to mention prices. Check links down below in the description, as well as the comments, to links directly to both these products, so you guys can see the actual selling price at this time, because it is subject to change. But basically at this time, the CS600 is approximately 2.5 times more money than the EVO820. So this means that you could buy literally 2.5 of these or 1 of those. What's better? Well, that depends on you personally. I think I'd probably rather, well, it's tough. I'd rather get like 2 of these and keep 1 for me and give 1 to my family and my parents, if they would start using it, and they could start juicing to turn their health around. So that'd be more valuable to me than just getting 1 juicer, you know, for a bunch of money, despite it being, you know, the most powerful juicer that could run for 24 hours. And I mean, it is solid and commercial. All right. So, oh, and then the other thing is, you guys see the different packages. So obviously with the EVO820, you guys get a lot more stuff. And I think this is definitely a good thing. So let's go over the differences. With both machines, you'll get what's here on the center of the table. You'll get 3 cleaning brushes. Kuvings is the only company to have 3 cleaning brushes with the machines, and I do like that. So this machine is basically a screen cleaning tool, and so when you're done juicing, you just put the screen in there, you brush this back and forth, and that'll easily and quickly clean the outside holes of the screen. You will then have this oversized toothbrush that you're then going to, you know, clean out the inside of the screen. I am going to keep saying in my videos that Kuvings need to redesign this brush because it doesn't quite get in to the bottom of the screen here, because they have a lip in the bottom here, so you can't really get into the bottom layer of the screen hole. So I think they definitely need to redesign this brush personally. And then also they give you this bottle brush, which is good for basically cleaning up through the spout here, which is really nice. So yeah, both machines will include that. Both machines also include an instruction manual. So I encourage you guys to always read the instruction manual before operation. Juicers are not as complex as your iPhone to use, but there is important information in these instruction manuals that you should be privy to before operating. The EVO comes in actually English and French. Meanwhile, the CS600 only comes in the English. That's here in the United States anyways. Now you do get a recipe book, and this is something else I like that Kuvings does. Other companies should follow suit. They give you actually a nice recipe book when you buy the machines. And this is the whole slow juicer recipe book here. Basically this is a paperback, and it's 103 pages with multiple recipes on each page. That's really nice. That gets you started. But then actually on the CS600, I gotta say this recipe book is a lot nicer. Basically this is a flip style recipe book that basically you just put on your counter, and you know, you just flip this up, and then basically you just flip through the different recipes, right? There's like 1 per page, and then there's actually 1 on the front, and then 1 on the back. So then if you like flip this back, oops, the other direction, you guys have even more recipes. So this is actually kind of nice, handy, and convenient. I don't know that I'd pay 2.5 times more money to get this recipe book, but this recipe book definitely is nicer for sure. And there's sections for juice cleanses, beauty juices, healthy juices, and I guess preventative juicers. And then if we go from this front side, wow, there's smoothies, sorbets, cocktails, juice detox, juice healing, juice refresh, and there's, yeah, the juice beauty, health, prevent, and cleanse. So yeah, definitely a nicer recipe book. And yeah, both these will have, you know, the recipes included. Now let's see, on with other parts that are included. So I mean, of course, with both machines you get the collection cups, so they are oversized collection cups. Goes up to 1,400 milliliters on the juice collection cup. These are always BPA free on the Kuvings. And the pulp collection cup is actually quite huge. On the EVO820 you get a collection cup. It is only actually marked up to 1,000 milliliters, so that holds a little bit less. And the pulp catch cup holds more than the juice catch cup, also BPA free. Now, a cool thing on the EVO820 you're not going to see on the CS600 is you're going to get a sieve. You could go out and buy a sieve, you know, for a couple bucks. I like to get them at the Asian stores. And you know, the sieve has actually kind of small holes. So the challenge is that Kuvings has been known to put some pulp into the juice. So using this sieve may, you know, collect a lot of pulp fast. So you may actually have to empty it out during juicing, or it may overflow. Let's see, and then other parts that come with the machines, of course, both of them have pushers. Each pusher is shaped depending on how the machine works. This pusher is shaped because the hole here is in the middle of the trapdoor, and this pusher is long and skinny, and it's based on the fact that there's actually a feed chute behind the trapdoor to feed the items into. Now let's see here. Oh, and then of course with the EVO820, it's the only Kuvings juicer on the market that will also include both extra attachments that they have. The sorbet attachment here, which is good for transforming frozen fruit that's maybe been thawed out a little bit into a frozen fruit sorbet. So this is an excellent way to get rid of your ice cream addiction that is not healthy, that has animal fats in there, that has foreign proteins that are probably, you know, put some weight on you, to something that's a lot healthier for you. Frozen fruits. One of my favorites is put a few frozen bananas through there, alternate with frozen blueberries. Now you have an antioxidant rich dessert that's probably going to help literally melt the weight off you compared to the ice cream that'll probably add the weight on you, right? So that's really cool. And then, you know, other Kuvings juicers may include this part, but no other Kuvings juicer includes this part right here. And this is basically a smoothie screen. So the smoothie screen allows you to make low RPM smoothies in the Kuvings whole slow juicer series, and you need to make sure you have enough liquid in there or it will not work properly. Now personally, you know, instead of using this smoothie attachment here, I would rather personally get a vacuum blender, but if you're not going to get a vacuum blender, then, you know, making low RPM smoothies is probably the next best thing you guys could do. And I like that this happens at a low RPM. I have other videos showing and demonstrating the use of the smoothie attachment. So yeah, this machine includes both these guys, whereas the CS600 does not include these guys, although they are available as extra added options at additional cost. I think both these guys combined will run you $80 to $100 extra. So it's kind of nice that they include that in the EVO820. Now the other thing they include in the EVO820, which is a first for Kuvings, is this special wrench. This special wrench will save your you-know-what. You know, if you do not use the juicer properly, like I tell you guys, you do not rotate your produce, you start using the pusher and start pushing things in too quickly, you are not pre-cutting your greens, you know, and not, you know, rotating and not feeding everything in super fast, right? Your machine is more than likely to get clogged up and stuck, which means what happens in that case is that the auger literally gets jacked up, the auger gets pushed up against this top housing, and then basically you try to turn this, take it apart, and you can't. It's stuck. I mean, once a week this happens to one of my customers. I have to explain the technique to get it unstuck if it gets stuck. But now with the new wrench here, your machine won't get unstuck, because will not be hard to get unstuck, because literally Kuvings is designed a wrench that you put on the top literally, and you know, you click it in there, and then you can basically get leverage to unlock the juicer to basically get it unstuck, you know, so basically you can get more leverage on it than just twisting it with your hands. So this is really nice. The EVO820 is the first machine this comes with, and you know, it has that little notch. But then now, for the first time I was looking at this machine also has that little notch that I'm like, oh yeah, that's nice, they put a notch there. I didn't know what it was for until now. And let's see if we put this tool on this guy, which it also doesn't quite fit. It does fit, yeah, pretty well, it kind of fits. And you could use it for this guy as well. But I think it was designed optimally to go with the EVO, so maybe they have a filter or a wrench for the CS600, and if they do, they should include it, all right? But the goal is, you know, not to have the wrench. The goal is to not get your machine stuck in the first place. so that you don't have to use the wrench, right? So yeah, I think those are all the different parts that comes with the machines. I went over the warranty differences. This has a 30-minute duty cycle on the motor use. So, you know, you could use it for 30 minutes and then you should stop, let it rest for 15 to 30 minutes before you start back up and keep going, because this is a home model, whereas that one could run literally 24 hours straight, which is kind of insane. You probably don't need that for the home, and probably you wouldn't need that for probably most juice bars either. That being said, I have used this machine for probably up to 45 minutes without any issues. That being said, you should heed the, you know, what the manufacturer says and only run the machine for 30 minutes, or you may, you know, risk burning out your motor prematurely. Let's see here, yeah. So I mean, I think those are the main differences about what comes with the machines, the warranties, the motor. The motor on this guy is rated at, I think, 240 watts, and the motor on this guy is rated at 200 watts. You're like, John, wait a second, man, this is the high-end commercial motor, but it only has 200 watts, and this one's 240. 240, John, if you didn't go to school, is more than 200, so 240, that's better, right? Not exactly. You know, motor wattage, that's kind of like, it's kind of like a scam in some levels. I mean, it's not, but it is, you know. So here's the thing, you could have a more efficient motor that actually has less wattage, that's even a better motor than a motor that has more wattage, right? So just rating the numbers is not a fair assessment or comparison. Besides the wattage, you want to see the horsepower rating, the torque, and the other specifications on the motor. That being said, I have used both of these machines, and, you know, honest, if I had to say which motor I prefer that guy. It's a lot more stronger and, you know, durable, in my opinion. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I think I want to get clear off a lot of these parts here, and now we're going to go ahead and take the juicers apart, one part by one part, and go over with a fine-tooth comb the differences between them. So now I want to compare each of these machines side by side, part by part, so you guys could learn the differences. You know, and before I go on, the first thing I want to say is that I don't know anybody else that goes into the detail that I do, so that some of you guys complain about the length of my videos. But that being said, if you guys are spending, you know, over $500 on a juicer, or more importantly, over $1,500 on a juicer, don't you want all this information? Isn't it worth your time to invest an hour to literally get an expert, me, to go over and share with you guys my opinion, so you guys can learn and know the differences when you can't personally touch and handle the part and the juicer itself, you know? And I think my services are invaluable. So if you guys found my services valuable, I would encourage you guys to support me and my work. That's how I'm able to continue to make these in-depth videos for you guys, to show you guys the pros and the cons, show you guys and compare different juicers against each other, so you guys could find the right juicer for you, right? And so I would encourage you to make your purchase at discountjuicers.com. When you do that, that allows me to continue to make these videos, put food on my table, pay my light bill. And so I want to thank you guys so much for helping me out. You know, it's no different than buying from any other retailer if you bought from us, except that I get some of the credit and I make a little bit of money. And I appreciate that so much. And the other thing I'll tell you is that, you know, I'm not like a seller of juicers that just sells juicers because he could be selling any widget. I could be selling any widget in the world if I wanted to. I don't really care. You know, but the reason why I sell juicers is because I know they work. I know they could change your life. My life has been positively affected by juicing. I get testimonials on a weekly, almost daily basis with people writing me in that I sold a juicer to a couple months ago. John, because you sold me the juicer and I watched your videos, I lost weight. John, because of your videos, you know, and I started juicing and working with my doctor, I was able to get off my diabetes medicines. John, because of your videos, you know, and juicing, I got rid of my cancer. I know I'm cancer free now. So I'm not going to say that's going to happen to you, but I'm saying this is what's happened to a lot of the people that I've sold juicers to, and I myself got over some major health conditions, autoimmune diseases, because of juices and other dietary changes. So that's why I'm so passionate about it, and that's why I spend my time to make these videos for you guys, to hopefully get you guys a little bit excited about juicing, but more importantly, make sure you do not mess up like I did many years ago when I bought my first juicer. Like, I didn't really know about juicers, and I didn't get the best one for me. I got one because it was advertised and people said it was the best, but it really wasn't. And I wish there were some of the slow technology juicers that were out now that when I started back then. And, you know, I don't want anybody else to make that mistake of getting the wrong juicer. That's why I take my time to invest in my time to help you guys out, to show you guys the juicers, the pros and cons, to go over it all, right? So anyways, enough of my ranting. Make your purchase at discountjuicers.com to support me. I do appreciate that, and I want to thank you guys in advance for for those of you guys that will purchase from me, and I want to thank you guys for those of you guys that have already purchased from me and are watching this video right now. And I do want to mention that I do have a price match policy. Don't think, John, I could order from this other store and save $5. Well, if you need to save $5 that bad, you know, that's great. But what I would say is I would encourage you guys to order from me at full price so I can make a little bit of money so I can continue to do this work. But if you do feel the need to save $5, let me know. Send me a link to the other authorized dealer, and I'll be glad to match their delivered pricing so that you guys could support me, but also you guys can get the lowest price if that is truly what's important to you. All right? So on with the show. We're going to compare each of these units side by side. So first, let's go ahead and take off the feed chutes, compare these. So, I mean, I got to say, I like one of these feed chutes more than the other. Which one does John like? I like this one right here. Why? This one's a lot more streamlined. Number one, it's a lot more light. It's a lot less clunky. And it's actually a lot shorter, too. So I like that one a lot. This one's a little bit more bigger, more stout, and you know, you guys haven't cleaned this. I have. There's a lot of passageways up in here. There's this main passageway, then there's a passageway in the back, and there's like, yeah, so it's this part definitely is a little bit more harder to clean than this guy here. This guy's also a bit lighter and a lot more streamlined, so I like that a lot. Now, feed chutes. So feed chutes on the top of this guy, there's like a round hole. I think that's probably maybe 1.75 inches in diameter. Let me go ahead and micrometer that for you guys, since I haven't actually haven't done that yet here. All right, yeah, so that's about 1.5 inches in diameter for the middle chute. And on this guy, the chute here, oops, we got to go from this direction here, is 2.2 inches wide, but the problem is the width. The width on this feed chute in the back, in my opinion, is way too small. Literally, it's like almost like 1 inch. So it's 1 inch by, what did I say, whatever it was, 2.2. And so that's a feed chute there. I would much rather have a 1.5 inch circular, because putting some carrots in here, they just won't fit because of the depth is only 1 inch. So that's me easier to feed carrots. Now, that being said, watch this, the pop-up chute here. All right, so on the pop-up trapdoor chute, this is how both the chutes look, right on the top. This chute is the largest of any juicer. It's 3.5 inches, so this makes sense in a commercial establishment. You could buy nice large apples, dunk in the apples, and have them drop right in, 3.5 inches. That being said, I personally do not think it's a compromise too much to have a 3.2 inch feed chute. Actually, it's 3.22 inches. You know, so it's a little bit smaller, but it's a lot easier to clean. Plus, you have the benefits of this larger feed chute right here. So overall, on this top feed chute element anyways, I would say the EVO820 wins in my book. The other thing is that this is also a lot more straight shot, straight down into the chute, whereas this has some extra curvatures and, you know, a thing that actually has to basically bounce and then go back in. This one basically just drops straight down. So, you know, I think better designed feed chute is, of course, the newer EVO820 model. All right, let's put these guys back down. All right, so then looking at the bottom of these guys, let's go ahead and turn those upside down for you guys. What are we looking at here? So on the EVO820 model, both these guys actually have 4 locking clasps. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Previous home models only had 3 locking clasps, but the commercial model also has 4 locking clasps. So this keeps it a lot more stable on the top. Some of the other models, you know, due to stress, especially people aren't using it properly, have been known to maybe come loose or potentially break if the machine is being abused, in my opinion. So neither of these machines will do that. So that in that case, it's the same. In addition, this machine also has a lot of this ribbing in here to basically make the machine stronger, but as does the commercial unit. So literally, in the home model, you're getting some of the commercial features for 2.5 times less money. In addition, there is some ribbing in here that helps to start, you know, crush up the produce. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 ribs. And over on this guy, there's basically 1, 2, 3, 4 ribs. So, you know, this, or actually then there's a few more, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And actually, yeah, so I think this ribbing here helps to kind of like get things and direct it in. So, you know, I would have to say this one looks a little bit more improved to me. Now, of course, they both have that little notch here that I did experiment with, and that their wrench tool does work on both of them to get them unstuck. I think that's pretty much it for both these guys. Also, you know, I want you guys to notice the height differences. You know, to me, I mean, I definitely like the EVO820 feed sheet, alright? So let's see, we'll put those off to the side there for you. Next, we're going to go ahead and check out the augers in both machines. I want to make sure I don't get these mixed up. So here's the auger in the EVO820, and here is the auger in the CS600 coming right out, alright? So if we look at these augers, I mean, oh yeah, you guys can see the difference, right? So the EVO820 auger is a baby little auger compared to the big brother, the CS600. The CS600 auger is definitely larger. You know, fairly larger. Alright, so let's go ahead and measure that with my micrometer here. So at the widest point on the bottom of the home model looks like to be approximately 2.98 inches. And if we measure the commercial model, this guy's also basically, well, depending on where I get it, it's about the same, 3 inches. So it's hard to say because depending on where you measure, it might be not super accurate. But I think the length is definitely going to be different. Let's see if my micrometer stretches out that much. Yes, it does. So this is about 6 inches top to bottom, whereas this auger here is definitely smaller. If we could roll that back in there. Alright, and measuring this one, it's about 5.63 inches. So yeah, definitely shorter there on that. So yeah, auger is definitely different. Yeah. Both made out of the GE Ultimate material. Next, let's go ahead and take out the screens out of both machines. Now these screens, I gotta say they look fairly similar, and I can't really even tell the difference between them. You know, one may be a little bit different than the other. I'm not exactly sure. To me though, it looks like the screen on the EVO820 has a little bit larger port on the bottom than the CS600. So I got my micrometer. Let's see if we were able to measure that. We'll have to measure from this side here. So we're measuring this dimension on the bottom. Let's see, 0.80 on that guy, and this one on the bottom, I guess it's 0.80, so it's about the same. That being said, it looks like the CS600 actually has a little tab there that's blocking off some of the pulp from coming out, so to restrict a little bit more, whereas this one is a little more open. Let's see, let's go ahead and micrometer the width of this screen here. I've always wanted to know if these are exactly the same or different. So 4.42, and this guy, I mean, pretty much 4.42, and then this direction here, going from right there, 3.44, and we're going from, where were we going from? I think we're going from right here. Yeah, 3.44. So yeah, the screens, I mean, literally looks like they're using the same screen for the most part in both machines. So yeah, that's the same. So to me, if they're using the same screen, that means it's going to get let out approximately the same amount of yield. And then let's check the wiping blades here. So the wiping blades, to me, I mean, they pretty much look identical. I'm not going to micrometer these guys because, I mean, I'm going to say these guys are pretty much the same or identical. If they're using the same screen, makes sense to me that they have the same wiping blade. That being said, the bowls, this is where there is significant difference. I mean, definitely picking up the commercial model, this bowl is a lot more heavy. I mean, it's heavier in my hand. That being said, the EVO820 is more streamlined. So I kind of like the look of this bowl. If you notice, instead of going straight up and down, it's kind of like at a rake. So it's a little bit nicer, especially for cleaning. Instead of a cylinder, it's kind of like a little bit more like a funnel shaped, easier for cleaning. Whereas this guy is a little more straight, up and down, vertical. I mean, it's still easy to clean, not a big deal. Both these bowls are pretty much the same. I mean, they both have 4 locking points on the top. Let's see here. The locking points on the EVO, to me, look a little bit more durable, actually. They look a little bit more thicker than the locking points on this. I'm sure if I'm like, I mean, who does this? Who takes out their micrometer, like, measure juicers? I'm like totally a nut job, right? Think I'm crazy. Thumbs up, all right. So we got to zero out our micrometer here. They're going to measure our locking point. 0.12 inches on that guy, and on this guy, 0.13. So a little bit more maybe. If you play with the micrometer, you might get them to match up. So let's see, both have the gearing system in the bottom of this bowl. that spin the automatic wiping blade. And both of them have the smart cap. Well, I will say that on the EVO, there's basically a 3-prong. I don't know if you guys can see that come down. It's a 3-prong stopper. I don't particularly care for this kind of 3-prong stopper so much. It's right inside. If you look up this hole right here, it's a bit harder to clean into. Whereas on the CS600, instead of having a 3-way stopper, there's just one little beam coming straight down. So that to me is easier to clean around this, and is going to prevent things from being cleaned and from coming out. In addition, if we look at where the pulp comes out, both these holes on both these machines where the pulp comes out appear to be the same size, so that's no different. What is different is the shape where the pulp comes out after it ejects. So I really like on the EVO820 that the pulp chute extends out from the body a little bit. Plus, they actually have a cutout on the top. If you guys can see that cutout on the top, whereas on this guy there is no cutout. Although both these machines have a similar size. Oh, actually, the CS600 actually has a little bit bigger size, but it's actually a step down. Whereas the EVO820 also has a step down. So let's see if I can compare those. So yeah, I mean, it looks like, despite having a similar size, I mean, they both look fairly similar where the pulp comes out, so that's not any major consideration. And then this is marked up to 400 milliliters, and this guy is actually marked up to 500 milliliters, so this bowl is actually a little bit larger. If you want to do mixing in the bowl, that being said, I do not encourage you guys to do mixing in the bowl. Both these guys have a similar smart cap system that actually has no screw in the middle of the cap, which is something they're doing on cheap Chinese juicers. I have seen screws going through the cap, which means when you close a cap, the screw is in juice. Those screws are zinc plated, not stainless steel on many of those Chinese juicers. And they rust, consequently meaning you get rust in your juice, right? Not at Kuvings, they're doing it right. 100% silicone there. And unlike other slow juicers, I want to say that there are no silicone tabs that you need to pull out or worry about or break off when you're done using the machine to clean it. So that's one of the reasons why I like the Kuvings. In addition, another unique part of the Kuvings that I didn't talk about is their closed bottom screen. Most vertical slow juicers have open bottom screens that let the pulp through, that basically make your bowl a mess when you're done juicing. In the case of the Kuvings, always the bowl is going to be pretty easy to clean actually. All the pulp will be basically stuck inside this juicing string, which is really convenient. You take this out, I put it over my compost bucket and tap it out and get all the pulp out in my compost bucket, and then I just go to the sink and continue to wash it out, alright? So I think the other main thing with the machines are the motors themselves here. I'm going to reveal the motor. So the motor on this guy, it's actually quite heavy. I mean, I weighed it in previous videos. I'm not weighing it today. On this guy, actually, I do like that they actually have a built-in handle on the back, which is really nice. And actually, this motor is also quite heavy here. Let's see. I mean, yeah, definitely this motor is heavier. I don't know how much heavier in this video. Both machines on the back have a forward and reverse switch. This machine basically has no carry handles on it, except maybe built into the sides on the bottom right there. And then this guy actually has a built-in carry handle kind of like in the front and also in the back. So I definitely like the carry handles on this guy more. The locking mechanisms, both these have the new upgraded gasket material to not allow juice that may overflow and spill into the top of the motor into the machine. So they both have the second generation design on that. And then on this guy, basically it's a drop-in design. It has 3 plastic protrusions that will hold the bowl in place, actually cut out, so that's kind of nice. I mean, I really kind of like, this seems to lock in a lot better, than some smaller, little tabs sticking up. Now I have heard on this machine, this machine is reinforced, although it does look like plastic. I heard there is metal inside there that reinforces it, that makes it stronger. And once again, both these guys, you just drop the bowl in. Now there is a little bit of play with that. I don't think it's an issue, whereas with this one, I mean, basically there's no play. So I mean, on some levels, this is a much more higher quality machine, but also it's also 2.5 times more money. That being said, if you're juicing like really hard and fast, fat carrots, right, which you can buy, because if sometimes you go to the store and you buy carrots, they might not be fresh picked, they might be a month or maybe 2 months old, and as they're sitting in a fridge, they're basically losing moisture, which means they're getting harder, which means the juicer is going to have a harder time extracting the nutrition from it. So in that case, then the CS600, of course, with its more powerful, more torque motor, is going to cut through those without problems, without having to basically bind the motor. You're going to have to actually hit the stop and hit the reverse and hit forward again to get it to clear up. Of course, if you want to avoid this situation, buy the freshest carrots you guys can at a store that actually turns over, which means they sell out of their carrots a lot and they're constantly restocking their shelves and they're getting the freshest produce. Also, the other thing you guys could do is when you're buying the carrots, try to buy the more thinner carrots that are not super fat and thick. These thinner carrots are going to be easier to juice in any vertical slow juicer, whether it's a Kuvings or not. So as you guys can see, you know, there's parts that are different, there's parts that are same, like the juicing screens, which means you're probably going to get the same yield. The augers, you know, a little bit different. The feed chute's a little bit different. I mean, I think so far, just on the parts alone, I like the EVO820. On the motors, though, I like the CS600. So I want to know if this won't fit this top here. It doesn't totally fit, it's not the right size. I wish it would, that'd be really cool. That'd be the best of both worlds. Anyways, next thing I'm going to go ahead and get these juicers reassembled, and we're going to come back at you, and we're going to juice exactly the same amounts of celery in both machines to show you guys the yield differences. Alright, so now I'm back, and now what we're going to do first is we're going to do a weigh-in to make sure we have the same exact amounts of celery we'll be juicing in both juicers. Alright, all this chopped celery ready to get juiced, and looks like in this side we have 1264 grams chopped celery, and over on this side, once again, chopped celery, 1264 grams. So 1264 grams on both sides. Looks like this will be a fair fight. Alright, so now that you guys saw we have a fair fight with even amounts of celery, we're going to go ahead and move these scales out of the way. And you're thinking, wait a second, John, you got whole slow juicers, man. These have the widest feed chutes in the entire world, but yet you diced up your celery? What's going on? Well, yeah, despite what Kuvings may show in some of their videos showing whole stalks of celery going down the center chutes, right? I do not encourage you guys, nor do I recommend you guys juice whole pieces of celery or any other leafy greens in this machine without pre-cutting. So, and I know what you're thinking right now. You're thinking, John, wait, then what's the big deal of the 3-inch wide feed chute if you got to pre-cut your stuff anyways, right? It doesn't matter if this feed chute's small because you got to pre-cut it. Well, so you guys only need to pre-cut things like celery that has those nice long strings. Let's see if I can rip one out here for you guys and show you guys. Look at this. Look at that celery string. That celery string, guys even see that? Gets stuck in your teeth, which I hate. But more importantly, this will get stuck in that right angle turn that I talked about in the juicer earlier. So that's why celery, as well as other leafy green stalks like chard, Swiss collards, no, Swiss chard, collard greens, kale, spinach, dandelion greens, you know, even things like lettuce, you know, should be cut so those strings do not clog up the juicer. That being said, you know, the big feed chutes are a big deal if you're juicing lots of apples or pears or other large fruits, so like big chunks of watermelon. I love the big chute juicers for the watermelon. So you have to cut them up into small pieces to fit in. You know, carrots, you just put in carrots whole without having to pre-cut them, so that's really great. Alright, so yeah, we'll be juicing celery in both these machines that have been pre-cut. Now, I'm doing what's called a medical medium celery juice kind of thing every morning. I've been on that since June. I think I feel a difference. I figure it can't hurt. I prefer to get my liquids that I need instead of from water, which basically is just water's water, and it's good hydration, which we need to have enough hydration. I want to get my water from the fruits and the vegetables. The vegetables really take up the water, they convert it and add nutrients to it. Now I'm just drinking vegetable juices, which I just think of as structured water with added benefits of minerals and vitamins and phytonutrients. Alright? And so check the link down below if you're looking for a specific juicer for juicing celery specifically. I compare all the top juicers against when juicing celery, and you guys will find out which one I prefer for juicing celery. Alright? So first we're going to go ahead and juice in the Kuvings CS600. Now we'll give a disclaimer, you know, I've told Kuvings that they need to give a funnel because, you know, juicing pre-cut celery in one of these machines without a funnel, you know, so actually if you did want to juice a lot of celery, the C7000 would be a better model because that is a funnel and a straight down drop-in feed chute. Juicing celery that's pre-cut into one of these machines with a small feed chute in the back or this drop-down hatch, it's not the easiest thing, and it actually kind of will slow you down, but that's actually a good thing because you don't want to juice too fast in any vertical slow juicer either. So anyways, I'm going to do the best I can, try to get most of the celery actually into the juicer and not onto the counter or the floor, because it's going to miss out. And I think to save time, what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and hit the start on here, and we're going to fast forward this so you guys can save some time and come back and see me when it's all juiced, alright? 1, 2, 3, start. We got it. We're going to turn this on, and we're going to use handfuls of celery at a time. We're probably just going to go ahead and use the spout. Alright, so I think this is like my last handful of celery. I just got some shreds in there, going right in. This has worked fairly well. There's a little bit of celery that's kind of stuck up back at the end. If you have that pusher, you can kind of push that in. But you know, that's one of the downsides of the whole slow juicers with the wide feed chute. Sometimes things don't totally get fed into the machine due to the design of this hopper that feeds and guides things in. This is not necessarily a problem with you know, the smaller feed chute verticals. So you know, one of the pros and cons to having the wide feed chute here. Looks like this is pretty much done. We're still dripping some juice out. I do have a sieve on here to collect all the pulp to show you guys how much pulp is generated in each of these machines. We're going to go ahead and stop that. I'm rambling here, so we're going to stop. Looks about 3 minutes to juice all that celery. That's what I think is 1,500 grams. That's maybe like over 3 pounds there. So I think next what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and move this out of the way, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to get juicing in the EVO820 next. So get situated for that. And same thing on this guy. Basically, we've got to feed this through this a little bit smaller feed chute here, or I could try to drop it down this center chute here. That's going to be interesting. I wonder what's easier. I'm going to try to drop it down the center chute. We'll see what happens, all right? So start and turn this on and start going. All right, definitely got to say, I think it's a little bit easier feeding it down this center chute. Once again, Kuvings, please come out with funnels for both these machines to make it easier to juice pre-cut produce items for people, all right? Yeah, definitely easier with a spout. All right, we're going to go ahead and speed this up for you guys. See if you guys can save any time without having to, like, you know, use that trapdoor feed chute. All right, we're down to the last handful of celery on the Kuvings EVO820. I definitely got to say, even though I missed the hole a few times, a little bit with some particulate, a lot easier to juice the celery in the EVO820, but nonetheless, it still took approximately 3 minutes. I had to definitely take some time and fumble around with moving the screen because we have a nice clearance on here, and on this one, literally in the glass collection bowls I'm using, that are actually from IKEA, which are really nice. It barely fits under the spout to work in this machine. I personally don't like collecting my juice in the included BPA-free plastic collection cups, so I use glass here. So, I mean, this guy's still dripping out a little bit, and we'll let this go a little bit longer, tip it up a little bit, and I guess we'll finally turn it off there. We'll lift this guy up. Shake out this sieve a little bit, sieve, and let's go ahead and move this guy over too. So, I mean, on the pulp, it's really hard to say. I'm definitely going to say, I mean, they pretty much look like they've created even amounts of pulp on both machines. I can't really say that's too much different there. Next, let's go ahead and check out the yield. So let's go ahead and give you guys a close-up on the yields. Now, theoretically, both these machines should make a similar yield because they are using the same screen, but you know, the designs are a little bit different. There is a little bit of wastage that's still up in here, whereas you know, most of the stuff actually fed right into the machine on the EVO820. So let's go ahead and take a close-up look on the yields. All right, let's go for a close-up on the yields, and this is rather interesting. Check it out. Over on the CS600, looks like we have maybe 830 milliliters, just above 1.34 pints of juice, and over on the EVO820, it's basically right at 800 milliliters of juice and under 1.3 pints of juice. So definitely the CS600 made maybe 30 more milliliters of juice. Alright, so as you guys saw, the CS600 actually made more juice than the EVO820 since they share pretty similar designs. Same exact screen, it has a bigger auger, and I think there's more wastage up here, and this looks like most of the stuff went through. One of the things is maybe I didn't run this for long enough after, because I mean I think if I still ran this, more juice is coming out. So we could let this run while I'm talking to you guys to see, you know, how much more juice we're going to get out if it continued to run. And I don't think it's a whole lot more, but it is a little bit more. I don't think that's going to make up for the difference, but you know, honestly, what I do think is the difference is that there's a bit more restriction where the pulp came out on the CS600, and I talked about this when I was going over the bowl and the juicing screen. You know, I don't know, Kuvings on the fly may change the design of the juicing screen, so maybe all the new CS600s may have this design now. But basically, yeah, I mean, this is not going up much. I mean, basically, I think that you're going to get pretty much similar yields, you know, within a good small range of each other. It is 30 milliliters more juice, enough to warrant a juicer that's 2.5 times more money, and also has 9 years less warranty, 1 year versus 10 years. For a home user, I'd say absolutely not, right? Juice quality is pretty much the same. These guys both run at 30 RPMs. Pretty much the cleaning is similar. This guy's going to favor the cleaning because, you know, this feed chute top is a little bit, you know, smaller, less nooks and crannies to clean. Yeah, so I think at the end of every comparison, I always have to declare a winner, right? And truly, both these machines have their pros and cons. Neither machine stopped up at any point when I was juicing straight celery. They powered right through it. That being said, you know, the CS600 does have a more powerful motor, but is it worth 2.5 times your money, your hard-earned cash, moolah, right? And if you're a home user, I would definitely say no. With the new advent of the EVO820, you know, it has a strong enough motor for the majority of the families out there, unless you got a family of 8 kids and you might want to get the bigger one. You know, the yields are pretty similar, but the more important thing for me is the ease of use. Oh my God, using this trapdoor to feed in celery was a pain in the you-know-what. It was a lot easier with this feed chute there, and if I was handy, I'd probably figure out or buy some kind of funnel so I could have a giant funnel that'll actually funnel it through the hole into the juicer. A lot easier, and you're only giving up on this trapdoor 3.2 versus 3.5. And also, of course, you got all the different accessories with this machine, including that sorbet attachment and the smoothie, low RPM smoothie attachment, as well as that tool to get that the juicer apart should it get stuck if you don't use it properly. I mean, I definitely, between these two machines, I gotta go with the EVO820. I still like the CS600 to do the motor, but actually using these side by side, it's like I definitely would spend 2.5 times less money, get the EVO, because this is Kuvings' premium model at this time. It also has a nice, you know, leather-like, but no animals were harmed because it's completely plastic. Look here, I do like the shorter and squatty look. This will fit underneath your kitchen cabinets here, but this guy is just way too tall. That's not going to happen. I mean, this would be great in a commercial juice bar, but for the home, guys, save your money, get this. But on the other hand, if you guys are a commercial juice bar, don't get the home unit for your juice bar. You guys got to get this if you don't need a NSF commercially certified unit. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it for this episode. Yeah, I really like feeding on this. Cleaning is going to be a lot easier on this. You know, I could definitely see how this is definitely a big advantage and huge advantage over the CS600, especially for people in the home. Now I get to, you know, drink my celery juice. Not bad. So the tricks for celery juice, try to get stalks that are nice, hard, and firm. If you could press into them and they're giving like an avocado, that means they're old, they're going to be bitter, they're going to be nasty. Also make sure to buy, instead of the hearts, try to get the full stalks. They're going to always taste better. And try to get ones that are as green as you guys possibly can. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this episode. If you guys enjoyed this episode with the EVO820 and the CS600, please be sure to give me a thumbs up. I'll do more videos comparing Kuvings products in the future, including upcoming comparing the EVO820 to the Elite C7000 model, which will definitely be a really eye-opening comparison. Also, be sure to click that subscribe button right down below if you're not already subscribed. And if you are, make sure you click that bell. And if you're not subscribed, make sure you click that bell at the same time so you're notified of my new and upcoming videos. I'm coming out about every 5 to 7 days. You never know what juicer or vacuum blender or other appliance that allows you to eat more fresh fruits and vegetables I'll be reviewing, comparing for you guys, so you guys can select the right appliance, so you guys can eat more fresh fruits and vegetables, which are the best foods on the entire planet. Also, be sure to share this video with somebody else that's considering buying a Kuvings vertical juicer, so that they can learn and see, you know, which juicer is better for them and for you guys out there. And finally, be sure to check my past episodes. My past episodes are a wealth of knowledge, over 500 episodes at this time on this YouTube channel, comparing all the different major brands juicers on the market, so that you guys can get the right one for you. And so with that, my name is John Kohler with discountjuicers.com. Be sure to visit discountjuicers.com/YouTube for special promotional offers for YouTube visitors like I am.